creating charts and graphs with Microsoft Excel 365. Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and create some charts and graphs using Microsoft Excel 365. So what I usually do if I'm starting from my home, I'll just go and I'll select Excel from the app launcher. You can go here and select Excel, and then I can select blank workbook. You can also go to create. You can also go to where it says workbook here. Go in that way, whichever way will get you there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start by locating the cells that I need, and these little rectangles are what we call our cells. These rectangles appear on a coordinate system where you have letters and you have numbers. The letters go horizontally, the numbers go vertically. And it helps represent a grid. So, you know, a lot of times when I'm in class, I'll call out specific numbers to be populated with information. So I'll say like B2, you know, C3. It's a lot like the game Battleship of the coordinate system, you know, B2. Oh, you sunk my battleship. Oh, anyway, I diverge. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by putting some information on A2. Now, I'm purposefully skipping A1. I'll explain why a little bit later. But right now, I'm just going to do a variable chart with some numerical information. So I'm going to do a sorry, I'm going to close these little windows here. They're distracting me. I'm going to go ahead and put in some basic information here. I'm just going to put in some animal names. So dogs, cats. I'm going to pretend I'm owning a pet shop and I'm doing a inventory. So I'll start here. I'm going to put, well, let's put 2, and then we'll put 3, and then we'll put 5 here. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight this information. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the Insert tab here. So once I have the information highlighted with my left clicker and I capture all that information between A and B up to between 2 and 4, I'm going to go ahead and go to Insert, click on that, and I'm going to click where it says Recommended Charts. Now the computer is going to take the information that's put into the spreadsheet and it's going to try to give us the best type of chart that it can. And so it'll show us a chart. So here's a little chart. There's some other ones here. This is like a bar chart, column chart. This is like a looks like a plot chart or a line chart. And then it shows 5 other results. I'm not going to go through those, but I will say let's pick this first one just so I can illustrate some of the functions. I'm going to click Insert Chart and close this little window here. And you're going to see the chart appear here. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag it up. So I'm going to grab this little box, and you'll see I get the little cursor that has the multi-points, and I'm just going to kind of pull it up, and I'll pull it here. Cool thing about this is I can actually adjust the size too. So if I want to make it smaller, I can make it bigger, move it in different dimensions. There we go. All right, so what can you do with this? First of all, you can go ahead and double click here where it says Field 2. We don't want that to say Field 2, so we want to change it to say something like Pet Inventory. We can also change the font of the pet inventory. We can change this to something a little more soft. Maybe we'll put it into 16. We'll make it bold so it kind of stands out a little bit more. We'll go down to the legend here that the computer creates, and I'm going to click on this. I can also make this Arial. I can make it a different size. If I want to go 10, make it a little bigger so it's easier to see. That'd be good. I can change the position of these things. So I can put like pet inventory here. I can grab this. Sometimes it'll let me move it. Put it over here. So if it just looks a little bit more readable from left to right, or I can continue with that centering that it had before, just like that. You know, those are some customization things you can do. When I do this, I'm just going to click on here. There's a lot of other things you can do. You can change the color of the outline. You can, change the color of the fill. One of the things that I actually like to do with this is go down here under legend, and you can customize the legend, but one of the things I like to do aside from changing maybe the color of the legend, because you can make the legend kind of stand out. So if I wanted to put like a background color, I can do that. It makes it stand out. You don't have to. I'm just showing that to you. You can also do some other things here. sorry. I'm going to the field where it says data labels. Now data labels can be helpful if you enable them because it shows the quantity inside the graph. That can make it easier to read. So if you want to do that, you can totally do that. It's completely up to you. It's just another customization. I like to leave it just because it's nice that way. But if you want to, you can also change this. So maybe you decided, oh, I don't want it, so I'll do it this way. It still leaves the data labeling in, but you can actually change the different colors and things like that if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. So do another experiment. All I got to do is I just click on this chart and I can hit the delete button. Now if I want it back, of course, I can go to, whoops, went too far. Go to my home tab and just hit the undo button, and then it'll bring the chart back. One thing just as a note, if I right click on here, I can add alt text. I can also do that formatting where I can change the names. I can also do a link. I can copy this. I can cut this. Cut will just delete it just like it did before. What I'm going to do now is I'm kind of going to expand what I have here. And maybe I'm just going to do just regular sales. So I'll change this. I'm just going to make this item 1, item 2, item 3. Maybe I'm selling some kind of widgets or something. But either way, I'm going to focus on doing like an inventory. And I'm going to just make these numbers different. Just throw in some random numbers here. Maybe something like this. Maybe show an increase in quantity. That's always nice when you have more things being sold. And I'm going to add a second variable. I'm going to put the variable of time on top. So we have products sold over time. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all. Now one thing I want to point out is notice how I didn't put A1. I didn't fill it with anything. The reason why I did that is it helps the computer to determine that there's actually two variables being used, the variable of time and then of course the elements that are being sold. The numerical information basically doesn't matter at this point, but these variables do. If I wanted to use this as a table, I could also copy it if I want to. I could bold these if I like, and I could just take this, and of course I can right click and I could copy it and then put it into Word if I wanted it just as the table. But if I want a visualization and I want a chart or graph, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select all those. I'm going to go back to insert, click on that insert tab, click recommended charts again, and there's the recommended charts, and it tries to tell you which ones are the best. So you've got a column chart, bar chart, there's a line chart. We've got 16 results, so we're going to just take a look here. We got all kinds of variations of these two. And yeah, you can just kind of go through all of these. You can also change it at will. Scatter plots are really great. They call it line with markers, but got them here just like that. This is a variation of the line. There's a regular scatter plot. There's the donut. Donut probably wouldn't work well. If you notice the donut, it's got like 3 layers. It makes it really hard to read. So you always want to go for a chart that's actually easier to read. So I would recommend for this many variables, you could use a column or a bar. Column's nice and clean. It's nice and easy to read. I'm going to pull it over here real quick. Again, you can change your chart title. So I could put like, widget sales. Something like that. Again, I can change the, font if I want. I can make it bold. I can make it big, things like that. But that's basically creating the chart. There are some different things up here. You can change axis, show left, show right, things like that. If you want to play with those, you can, of course, do things with the chart title. You can select specific data. You can switch the rows of the columns, things like that. Again, there's also the formatting. There's some other things here. For example, you can add grid lines. You can subtract grid lines. So you can do major and minor grid lines, which show them really neatly like this. I think that's great because it can show little micro changes or micro implements here. You can, subtract the grid lines. You can go major grid lines only, things like that. So there's all sorts of little things. I invite you to just kind of play around with it. As far as taking this chart and using this chart exclusively, there are a couple of things that you can do. The main thing that I recommend is just to simply do a screenshot. If you have the snippet tool or snipping tool in a PC, you can use that. Mac will let you do a photo just with Command-Shift-4. You can just kind of find it and just pull it here and just do a nice little screenshot. Bloop, and came out really nice here. This is what it looks like. Real nice, right? So yeah, just close that, go back. Those are kind of the quick and dirty ways to pull this. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any way to kind of pull it off here. You could say link to this chart, so you could link to it online. If I click it, it kind of goes so I can, create access, make it available through my account. When you decide to turn this in, if you want to, you can always go to File. You can go under File, More Options. You can just Save As. You can download a copy. You can Save As. If you Save As, it'll save it as the spreadsheet file, the XLSX file, and then you can of course save that if you need to. But as far as pulling out just the chart, screenshot's probably your best shot for this. There are some other things that you can do. You can also use the print option. If your print option has enabled the PDF option, you can go to print. You can go to where it says local printer and then just choose download as a PDF, and then you can download that and you can go down and print it, but it'll print for you or save as a PDF, and then you can download that. It comes out real nice, just kind of a nice way you can download this, you can print it. Yeah, so those are your major options for turning in your projects for that and for creating this, but you'll be able to use this for a lot of different things. We will go over some variations of how this works a little bit later. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Have a wonderful day.